All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm Gary Victor. I'll be your platform assistant for today. Happy May Day and happy Beltane Day. This is the day of fire, and it's also the halfway point between the first day of spring, which is vernal equinox, and the first day of summer. So I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to summer. And we have some sun outside. It feels pretty good. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for all the people that are joining us on the internet and streaming in. So welcome to. So thank you, and please join me in rising as we transition to the song "We Come Together."
Take a look at the person next to you. God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, for every walk of life, every creed of color, in kitchen we unite. In honor of our knowledge of. Take a look at the person next to you. Say namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love.
Thank you. Great job. I was amiss. I just want to introduce Reverend Jill Andrews. She is our guest speaker today. She is visiting from Unity East in suburban Columbus in Pickerington. So please join me. If you could rise, we're going to read the mission statement. So we can read one thing. We get a lot of exercise, so this is good for our bodies. So just please join me in reading. We welcome all as we create loving communities, teach universal truth, practice spiritual principles, and live life abundantly. All right. Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning. What a great day, don't you think? Do you think we deserve this great day?
Yes.
So, how many of you listened to WYSO ever? Did you listen this morning, church? Did you hear Gary Victor? You were on. Did you know that? Were you listening to yourself? So I'm driving along, Woodman. This is the first time I've heard that module, because I'm usually doing something else on Sunday mornings, right? And so Gary, we have Guy Jones and Gary Victor. I go, the Gary Victor, and it sure was talking about watershed in Little Miami. So that was the prelude. So Thank you, Gary, for being everywhere present. So will you join me as an opening prayer as we gather together? And it is so good to be together after this drought of togetherness in terms of personal presence. We just honor that we are able to do that. We are in spiritual community, and we love ourselves and everyone in this sanctuary, those on the internet, as well as those in this spiritual community that aren't with us today in any way. We are grateful for these teachings and the ability to be together to share them. And so it is. Amen.
All right, we want to welcome all new visitors and people, whether you're here on board or on the internet. So do we have any new people? Yes, we're welcome. Thanks for joining us today. And we have a couple, we have one person over here. Thanks for joining us today. Great. Well, thanks for joining, and again, happy May 1st. I'm looking forward to spring and summer. So I'd like to introduce Reverend Jill Andrews. She is going to grace us from Unity East, which is in suburban Columbus and Pickerington. And prior to entering the ministry, Reverend Jill served as a corporate interior designer, a management trainer, and adjunct professor of applied computer technology. She holds a bachelor's degree in design from the University of Cincinnati at Bearcat and a master's degree in psychology from Antioch University in Yellow Springs. And Reverend Jill was ordained as a Unity minister in 2004, and she has served in teaching roles at Unity World Headquarters and Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute in Unity Village in suburban Kansas City. Following her work in Unity Village, she has served as a senior minister at Unity of Syracuse, New York. And in 2012, she returned home to Ohio to serve as a caretaker for her mom. And she is currently serving at Unity Spiritual Center, or Unity East in Pickerington. She took on that role in 2014. So we welcome Reverend Jill Andrews. Thanks for joining us today. All right, so I ask you to rise. We're going to go into song. Yeah.
See how you are.
Yep. And we are going to sing When I Walk.
When I walk in the Spirit. I walk in the Holy Spirit. When I walk. When I walk in the Spirit. I walk in the Holy Spirit. When I walk. When I move. When I move in the Spirit. I move in the Holy Spirit. When I move. When I move in the Spirit. I move in the Holy Spirit. When I move. When I talk in the Spirit. I'm talking the Holy Spirit. When I talk. When I talk in the Spirit. I'm talking the Holy Spirit. When I talk. When I talk. When I talk.
Great to see you. Okay. Okay, we did this last time. I got choked up. This is the daily word, so I do have the words. So today's daily word is joy. So I carry joy in my heart. This is for May 1st, 2022. So my many happy experiences and memories may lead me to feel joyful, but I know that they are not the source of my joy. One of my divine gifts, joy is part of my spiritual identity, as close to me as my next breath. Joy wells up and spills over within me when I bring my awareness to my spiritual nature, divine, and to my oneness with all good and all life. It is an attitude I hold in mind and a feeling in my heart. The happiness I feel in life depends on my allowing my inner wellspring of joy to come forth. I nurture my joy by maintaining a regular prayer practice that enhances my awareness of God and making time for the things that make me happiest. I go into the world grateful for the joy that resides within me. My gift is shared generously. So this is from Isaiah 55:12. For you shall go out in joy and be led back in peace. So beautiful. That's the daily word. So let me just. All right. So we are now going to do I am.
This is new. Be patient with yourself. You'll get to know this much better as we do it.
I am made of the light, and it's the stars in the night. A perfect thought since time began. I am. I am one with the love that is in all of us. It's power in our hands. I
am called.
I am called by the voice that speaks of truth and joy. Regardless where I stand, I am. Here I am, listening now to your will. Speak your word, touch the weak, heal the world. I am love all along. I have known I'm the branch, you're the tree. There's no want, there's no need. Intertwined, heart and soul aligned. I know you by name. Love and one, nothing will ever come between us. You are all the lover of my soul, Holy One. How you fill my every thought, everything in me is you, everything in me is truth, beloved one. You lift me up, and I let go. There is no fear where I stand. Holy ground is where I am. Look what you've made. Strong and brave, you call me by name. Beloved one, nothing will ever come between us. You are all I've ever known. You're the lover of my soul, Holy One. How you fill my every thought, everything in me is you. Everything in me is truth, beloved one. Beloved one, everything can never come between us. You are all I've ever known. You're the lover of my soul, Holy One. How you fill my every thought, everything in me is you. Everything in me is truth, beloved one. Nothing will ever come between us. Everything in me is you. Everything is true, beloved
Wow, huh? Wow, comma, huh? Great music team you have. Let's give them another hand. Thank you. And thanks to everybody here. It takes a village to create these Sunday services, and thank you to each and every person. And that's every person. You came, it's your presence that helps make this great, but there's lots of people that support getting this service together. So thank you for all that you do. So the Taoists tell a story of a king who wanted to find a horse as a present for his daughter. To assist him with the purchase, he sent for his chief advisor to ask his opinion. I'm afraid I know nothing of horses, his advisor replied, but I do know of a man in the provinces, not far from here, who is an expert in the field. We can trust his judgment. So the king was delighted, and he sent out a dispatch right away to the expert, requesting that he wished to buy his best horse. And a reply came back a few days later that he had the perfect horse in mind, a black stallion of the highest quality. The king grew even more excited and began telling all his subjects about the creature that was to arrive. When the horse finally showed up, though, it turned out to be a dun-colored mare. The king flew out into a rage and sent for his counselor. I thought you said this man was an expert on horses, and yet he is unable to correctly identify his color or the sex of the animal. The counselor gasped in admiration. Oh, has he really gone as far as that? When I knew him, he was only able to tell the quality of the horse from its look and its posture. Now he has gone beyond his exterior signs. He sees so much of the inner essence of the animal that nothing else seems to count. Sure enough, the horse turned out to be of the highest standard. So how do we go about life, looking at life? Do we judge harshly at the beginning and never change the way we look? But to me, this story demonstrates two ways of seeing in the world. One, where we add up all the calculations and make a judgment about appearances, and the other, and all the reasonable assumptions our senses come to, and the other way, where we can see straight to the heart of the matter by bypassing all the usual criteria and using our inner sight and our inner knowing. A total shift can occur if we bring an awareness and an honoring of the divinity within us and with all human beings, actually all beings. In unity, we understand God to be a field of love and intelligence that is the foundation of the universe. God is not a supreme being, watching, judging, parenting, or protecting us, but rather the substance of all that exists, including us. We recognize that God is love, God is good all the time, and there's only one power and one presence, and that is God. This is the first of Unity's 5 principles. Remember those? We've probably heard those a little bit. From this place of God is all there is, we move to our second principle, expanding the definition to include each of us. If God is all there is and everything is God, how could we be anything but divine? God is individualized in each person as the Christ. We each have a spark of that divinity. We are the spark of divinity. We each are unique expressions of God. We are the divine expressing in human form, and we can never be separate from God. Within unity, we use the example to assist in our understanding of our human relationship with God. So think of the waves on the ocean. Just get that picture in your mind. Oh, so peaceful. Feel the energy shift to the ocean now. We're the waves of the ocean. And each of us is distinct as a wave, yet made up of precisely the energy and the allness that is in every drop of water, that is the entirety of the ocean. We are all the same. We are all beings all over. And we are united. If you think of the globe and all that water, there is no boundaries to that water. It just flows everywhere, flows into inlets, flows into the Great Lakes. It is everywhere present. We are all one. We are not the whole ocean, but we are the same composition, nothing more or less. We're just part of the divine flow. So over and over again in the teachings of Jesus, there were demonstrations of what it is possible for human beings when fully aligned with the presence of God within us. Jesus lived, he forgave, he healed, and taught fully aligned with this divine Christ within, that Christed spirit within. God's self, Christ's presence. And in other religions, they might call it the Buddha within, the Atma. It's the same divinity for all of us. And he said we too can do the same. The same divine essence Jesus had dwells in each of us. We are expressions of the divine in human form because of that is our essence of God. It is through the Spirit within that we know our oneness with God. No one is needed to help us to know God any more than the ocean wave needs to be reconciled with the ocean. So in his book, The New Earth, Eckhart Tolle has one of my favorite quotes about Jesus and the Christ Spirit. Jesus speaks of the innermost I am, the essence identity of every man and woman, every life form, in fact. He speaks of the life that you are. Some Christian mystics have called it your Buddha nature. For Hindus, it is Atman, the indwelling God. When you are in touch with that dimension within yourself, and being in touch with it is your natural state, not some miraculous achievement, all your actions and relationships will reflect the oneness with all life that you sense deep within. This is love. Law, commandments, rules, and regulations are necessary for those who are cut off from who they are. The trust, the truth within. They present the worst excesses of the ego. Often they don't even do that. Love and do what you will, said St. Augustine. Words cannot get much closer to the truth than that. Thank you, Eckhart Tolle. So the Apostle Paul, who after his conversion championed Jesus' teachings, proclaimed, Christ in you, your hope of glory. And this was Charles Fillmore, our co-founder's favorite phrase, Christ in you, your hope of glory, the divinity within you. That is the very essence of our beingness of God. Every attribute of God is within you, each of you, and me and everyone. Love, peace, joy, it's all there, awaiting full expression in your lives. Our soul work is to lift our consciousness to that of that Christ energy vibration. Jesus didn't just meditate on the Spirit and go hide out at home, or just come to Sunday service or Saturday service or service and then just evaporate. He expressed God through him and all that he did. He ministered wherever he was, teaching, healing, and doing the work from that Spirit within. So many years ago, I was gifted, this was in Syracuse, I was gifted with a teaching from a woman whose life had been dramatically altered by Unity teachings. She was getting along in years. She was about 85, and she'd been in Unity. She discovered Unity in her early 40s, and she told me how much it changed her life. And she said that there was one pamphlet that really made the biggest difference in her life, and it was called 24 Golden Hours. And it was written in 1936. And not long after Bernice told her story to me, so, okay, that's great. It's another pamphlet or a book. That pamphlet I came across when I was at Unity Village. And I want to share some of the thoughts with you because it is life-changing, it is simple, and I consider it a pearl of condensed truth. So there's a young woman, and her name is Charlotte, and she had come to a hard time in her life. She was filled with discontent, and everything seemed to go wrong. Her deepest dreams for herself were thwarted. Her job wasn't the job she wanted. Her friends were blah. Her home was unattractive, and her personality quite unlovely. The good news was she was aware of the mess her life was in, and that awareness, she found herself overwhelmed by how to escape her most unsatisfying life. As a first step in seeking assistance, she went to the one person who she'd identified that might be able to help her. This particular woman was named Margaret, and she had this very pleasant personality, seemed to be positive, lived in a lovely cottage, had a great garden, and she painted these lovely watercolors that were pre-sold quite often. Before she had made them. So she was the whole deal, particularly for Charlotte and many other people. So Charlotte went to Margaret, and she told her of her most miserable life. The poverty, the disappointments, the uncaring friends, and the unsympathetic family, and then her lack of charm and beauty. Well, Margaret was empathetic, and she said something that struck Charlotte to the core. You can change all that if you really have the will to do it. Have you ever heard something like that before? Mm-hmm. You can change all that if you really have the will to do it. Now, there's the kicker, right? If you have the will to do it and stick to it with this. So Charlotte perked up. How? I'll do anything, no matter how difficult. Margaret continued, well, it's not hard at all. It only takes time. You see, you must sow the seed for another kind of life and wait with patience for it to grow. Here's a test to see whether you truly have the will. For the next 24 hours, live as if Christ were right beside you, seeing everything that you do. Then come back to me and we'll talk it over. Will you do that? Well, the answer was, I think I can do this for 24 hours. So this way of speaking of Christ was new to Charlotte, considering Christ as a partner in living, as a neighbor, as a trusted friend, a beloved presence. And she answered, yes, I am willing. The practice started immediately for Charlotte. At home, she was assisting with getting supper on the table, and she noticed, and when she went to the drawer, she pulled out a wrinkled tablecloth. When she spread it out on the table, she noticed several soiled spots, and it was at this point that was her first thought of a change. Now, if Christ were going to eat with us, I wouldn't put a soiled tablecloth, she thought. So she got a fresh tablecloth, put it out. Then she went out to the garden, collected the most beautiful flowers that she could find, and created a lovely composition in a vase and put it on the center of the table. Oh, then we got to the butter. It was, messy on the plate. So she got a new plate. She tidied it up. She put the plate out. And then she cut the bread with care and on with everything she saw and helped with in the food preparation. She thought, if I'd known Christ would be here, I'd have managed somehow today to make a nice dessert. She's hoping she wasn't sacrilegious and thinking that Christ would like dessert. Of course, right? That's one of his favorite things. So her father approached the table, peering over his glasses with curiosity. Company tonight? Charlotte smiled. Just you and Mom. After all, she thought, if Christ were present, you'd smile at your family and show them your love. Her mom, hot and bothered, my translation, hot and bothered from her chores, offered a hasty comment. Charlotte held her tongue until she thought of the proper thing to say in the presence of the unseen guest at her side. I don't know of anyone I'd rather fix things for than my own folks. The family simply stared for a few moments, because this wasn't like Charlotte. There was another jab from her father, and Charlotte found herself noticing her anger rising, and just when she was ready to react, possibly starting a quarrel, she said to herself, Christ is here. And she remained silent and composed. At the conclusion of the meal, she found herself willingly volunteering to do the dishes, and found for herself that when she offered in love and didn't mind doing the dishes, it ceased being the hard job that she always thought it had been. So she was even questioned by her sister, whose turn it was, who said, remain silent, but Charlotte said, this was my pleasure to do this in love. So not long after she sat down to relax in the living room after all this dinner and the dishes, a few friends arrived at her door to invite her to an impromptu party, which she would normally not have attended. And she thought, should I go? Yes, Christ likes parties. He seemed to love going, and he helped others to have a good time. And after all, he turned water into wine. So Charlotte went through the whole evening, and she kept the thought, Christ beside me. She didn't think of herself much. She thought of others. She found herself engaged with others, actually connecting with others, talking to a shy man in a corner, and then taking place in the games and helping out with the food. And as she left the party that night, on her way out, she heard a distant remark. That's Charlotte Dale. She is sure a lot of fun, isn't she? The next morning provided plenty of opportunities for her experiment to continue. She went to work that day, as she did every day, as a saleswoman in a dry goods store. She disliked her job and held a strong resentment about this job holding her back when she wanted to go to college to study to become an interior decorator. And working in this job represented squelching her dreams. Christ beside me, she thought, as she arrived at the store, joyfully greeting everyone she met. She found herself totally present and fully engaged with each person she encountered. The ultimate test was with an extremely persnickety customer full of anger at the stupid clerks that had not been able to assist her. Charlotte, like all the clerks, did not like angry, rude customers, and this one qualified to Charlotte as full-on angry. Charlotte's first impulse was to give the woman her iciest answer and to make as little effort as possible. However, she remembered she found herself silent, repeating, Christ beside me, even with people like this. With that, she smiled at the woman, offered her assistance, and then proceeded to find out what she was looking for. The woman actually smiled and thanked Charlotte for her kindness. The day continued to be a pleasure for Charlotte. She found that at the end of the day, she was not tired, and it was closing time before she knew it. Well, on the way home, it's been 24 hours, she stopped at Margaret's studio to report on the experiment. These were her words. I tried it just as well as I could. Well, it made everything different. I think I can see what you mean. Of course, it didn't change the things that are bothering me. I'm still poor, I can't go to school, and I live in an ugly house, and I don't know the sort of people that I'd like to know. Then Margaret assured her, my dear, you only started your seed sowing 24 hours ago. When you first put the seed in, the garden doesn't look different, does it? But it's on the way to becoming different. In 3 months, it will be bright and it will be full of blossoms, not drab with dull brown earth. That will be the same with you. You say these handicaps in your life haven't changed, but you've started to change them. Can you keep on as you've begun and wait patiently for the Lord? If so, you will cease being poor and without opportunity, and friends will be drawn to you. Doors will open before you. Your surroundings will blossom into beauty. You will be blessed beyond belief. You have the magic word. It is Christ. Fretting or even effort doesn't change things very much, but Christ does. Just remember to keep your daily walk very close to the presence. So I love that because it reminds us, not that Christ is, outside us like it's saying beside us and outside us, but Christ is within us. It's right there all the time. Christ, that spirit is always with us. And we take that with us in everything we do and say and see. And we can change our lives if we want to. And I bet some of you in here have done that at some point. Is that true? You've changed your life since you've started Unity teachings, saw steps, leaps, and bounds. So earlier this year, I invited the people at the church I serve in Pickerington to join me with an experiment not unlike this one. We were doing a series on love. And the experiment was to spread love everywhere. I like that meme, sprinkle it everywhere, right? We became love ambassadors. I invited them to become love ambassadors. Did everyone do it? No, but that's okay, we did it, and they were affected by the rest of us doing it. So specifically, this one week, I asked them to choose a person in their life that annoyed them, disturbed them, or made them angry or resentful. Think of them, whether they're in your own house, your friends, your work, far away, wherever they are, think of them and shower them with love. Ugh. Sometimes that's all the feedback I get, right? I'll take it. Ugh. Then take it with you. And so I'm pretty excited to be here because my pandemic experience has been pretty much at home and at a grocery store, right? Occasionally a pharmacy. So I tested this again. I don't remember it all the time, but I really kick in. Sometimes I really kick in. And so I had a Subway coupon Saturday. They expired yesterday. So I went to the Subway and I noticed the man was rather grumpy. And I decided I'm not going to get in grumpy. I am going to sprinkle love through the Subway. So I said, as he prepared my sandwich, I said, I bet you dream about making these sandwiches. He said, oh, you bet. He says, I also dream about processing deeds. Oh, did you do that before? I really had an engaging discussion with him, which must have been the first time in forever a Subway guy has had an engaging conversation, honoring him, right? So we went on. And so I take out my coupon, and he says, no, I have something better for you. And so I got 50% off. And he said, come back. Did you know you can use Subway coupons after the fact? Well, what a blessing, And I realized it was me changing my judgment and my attitude, right? Honoring the Christ in him. And I wasn't thinking that. Don't think that I went there and go, oh, I'm going to do the love experiment right now. I'm going to see the Christ within him. I just went into the mode. And actually, I find Kroger a great place, Meijer too, any of them. I find that when I'm looking for an employee, geez, I can get really heated. But that doesn't mean that when I find an employee, of which there are even fewer than there were before the pandemic, then I'm going to go off on it. I have to have a different energy about it to get what I want. And their day is tough too. So just remember that as a possibility. So back to you, maybe possibly, because I'm going to invite you to do this in your life. You can do the 24 hours. You can do 24 hours, golden hours. You could do this love experiment. But right now, with the love experiment, think of that person that's very annoying in your life, and then shower them with love. And this is not hard, but it can be in your prayer time, your meditation time. If you don't have a formal meditation time, find some moments. It could be at a traffic light. Traffic's really great to send love. So, the people that cut me off, it is my greatest teacher.
Yeah.
Really, and just blessing. Oh, the ultimate for me is instead of growling, I now let them in, cordially. I'm still a little disturbed that there's all this space behind me and you have to cut me off to get in, but all right, that's the way it goes. Do I want to disturb the calm nature of my soul with this, or do I want to send love? Send love. There might be an emergency that has to be there 1 second earlier. So practice spreading love, if you can remember that in any way. You can start now by thinking of those people that you want to spread love. But you don't have to think of a whole bunch. Think of one in particular. One of my congregants said it was her boss, which is a really big reach, right? She said she's been contentious with that boss for years, and she really put it into practice, and the relationship changed. She no longer felt belittled by her boss. She no longer felt like the boss was critical of her. And in it, she felt self-love. She knew it was her. She was Charlotte. things have started to change. So this can happen for you. And notice that when you're sending love anywhere, other people light up. And then your light is bigger, and it comes back as a treasure, more expansive than you can imagine. Some of you might think, another to-do list from Unity, another thing to do. Remember, you can change your life if you want to, one small step at a time. I think this is an easy step, actually, right? Just easy. Send love, share positive thoughts.
Much love.
What? Much love?
Much love.
Yes, bunches of love. Sprinkle it like sprinkles. So today, my invitation for you is to recognize that divinity within you, that Christ Spirit. If you use the words of Margaret to Charlotte, imagine Christ beside you, Spirit beside you, and that everything you do is for that greater glory. And it's really for you, and then it's for that recognition that other people that can see and feel your actions acknowledging you. Because whether somebody noticed it was a really nice tablecloth and there's no junk on the butter tray and there's, the bread's not skitter scatter, somebody knows, and at the very best, you know, and you feel good, so they feel good. So let's join together, if you will, and pray with me as we take a time for the silence and meditation and thoughts on love, the love bug, right? So I ask you to get comfortable in your seats, allowing yourself to feel any tension in your body and just releasing it. Let it go. Just scan your body and allow your feet to rest gently on the ground and your arms or hands to rest. And rest in the knowing that the truth of our very being, the Christ presence, is waiting at any moment to be awakened, acknowledged, and expressed. We say yes to this essence. We say yes to this Christ presence that is within us and everywhere present. We say yes to our willingness to lift our consciousness and expand it all around us, knowing that all is provided. And we are ambassadors of the light, of the love and joy and peace that is within us being expressed in the world. And so we dwell in this time of silence as we connect with our source and just radiate and focus on love. And I invite you, as we focus on your heart chakra, on the love center, feel the energy in this room just shift as we just focus merely on love. Whatever love means to you, positive love, we focus on that now in the silence. We give thanks for this opportunity to know this truth that sets us free. We acknowledge that the Christ Spirit resides in each of us. We need only remember to connect and to express the love everywhere we go. We sprinkle love abundantly. And as we know this truth, we give thanks and say, Amen.
Now, as we'll prepare to receive our offering.
So this is the time in the service, our sacred service, where we give thanks and give gratitude to our gifts and our abundance. And I love this affirmation. So if you could join me, divine love through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, 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 I'm so grateful.
Do we want to bless the offering? Anderson.
Will you lift our hands with me so we can bless this offering? Knowing that we give abundantly as we receive, and we are so grateful for these teachings, knowing that it is in the joy of giving that we sustain this spiritual community unity teachings. We give with love and we receive in love, and we are grateful. Amen.
Yeah, fun of exercise. Okay. Well, this is the point where we share our announcements and kind of like coming attractions if you're thinking movies. So we have a full slate, so it's kind of nice. A lot going on. So coming up in a couple weeks on May 15th, Douglas Bluefeather will be our featured speaker at 11 o'clock. And he is an amazing, internationally acclaimed musician. So just an amazing gentleman. Please bring your family and friends to experience and enjoy his healing music. After the service, Douglas will be offering a hands-on workshop for anyone interested in learning to play a Native American flute. So he will offer basic techniques, scales, creating songs that will be the focus. So flutes will be provided, and there will be a $20 fee, and that will include practice materials. The class is about 2 hours long, so we'll offer snacks during that time, and will be available after the service as well. And Douglas will be splitting his fee with Unity at Date, so this will be a great fundraising opportunity. And there'll be sign-up sheets in the social area. There are permanent name tags, and if you have any questions, see any usher, and they'll show you. I believe they're in the coat area, if I'm not mistaken. The Reiki Healing Circle is back. It will be held the first Sunday of the month today, following today's service at 12:30. So there will be a circle again today. If interested, please sign up upon entering the sanctuary. There will be refreshments after the service, as the circle may last about 45 minutes. So this is offered on a love offering basis. There's no fee. And then the Sacred Feminine Women's Group meets in person. That's on Wednesdays from 10:30 a.m. to noon. Colleen Foster is the focus person for that. All women of Unity are invited. So please join Colleen and her circle on Wednesdays for conversation and connection. And then join us every second Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. in the evening for a sacred drumming event. Again, that's here at Unity. Bring your drum, rattle, noisemaker, coffee can, whatever to make noise and raise your spiritual vibration. Again, drumming is offered on an optional love offering basis. And that next drumming circle is Wednesday, May 11th, in a couple weeks, and that's at 6 p.m. And then our beloved Dan Studebaker, who is in Oregon, he's, I believe, in the Portland area. He offers a ongoing study group. It's online, it's virtual. It's the first and third Wednesday of each month. And it's about exploring your ascension energies, shifting into the fifth dimension. So email Dan, great guy, miss him dearly. His email, if you're interested, is dwstudebaker@gmail.com for a Zoom invite. And there will be a craft circle here on Saturday, May 21st from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Our very own Georgia, Chase Blainer, is going to be orchestrating that. So this will be an opportunity to kind of display your craft skills and settle in for a morning of conversation and creativity. There will be coloring pages. There will be knitting, crocheting, sewing, scrapbooking, beading, drawing, journaling. So a lot of different things. So join in. That's again May 21st. And all ages and abilities are welcome. And last but not least, if you are a Kroger or a Amazon shopper, there are some rebates available. So see, there are forms out in the social hall for those opportunities. There's like 0.5% of that money, those proceeds from the sales go to the church. So I want to acknowledge in closing, and especially our online friends, just want to thank all the people that really help. You know, Reverend Joel talked about all the people that help prepare. So I want to acknowledge the music team. They do a great job, a lot of preparation. Thanks, Brother Bill, for gracing us today, so thank you. And our ushers, so appreciate the ushers. And last but not least, our StreamYard, our sound teams, Judy and Morgan, thank you for holding my watch back there. So I always wonder if they lose their hair, you know. So it's a big job. So again, just want to acknowledge the people that signed in on the internet today. So we have a special ritual kind of affirmation, if I can get that. And Reverend Sue, I always loved when she did this. She had the biggest gleam. So we close with, "You are the light of the world." So she can only do that. She did a great job with that. So if you can join us, we have a